Thank you for tuning in to Behind the Boost with Joshua Johnston today. You're going to love it. I met you, Josh. Where was it? I was in Nashville at a conference, and you were sitting close to me. And that conference was okay, right? The content was okay.
I'm glad I didn't say the name of it because
yeah, for sure, it was okay. And I mean, that's what happens with these conferences, right? There's sometimes where it's like, oh my gosh, I need another hour listening to this individual on how we can do X, Y, Z. And then there's other times where it's like, I need to find another reason to go to the bathroom right now so I could get up. But I remember just sitting there and being like, ooh, this content isn't the best. And I look over and there's this freaking really cool dude that I got like an English vibe from you. And I was like, ooh, I wonder if he has an English accent. How am I going to be able to speak to this dude? And it come to find out you have a conference in England. And I'm like, well, let's talk. Let's figure this out. So tell me where you're from, what you do.
Yeah, so actually from Nashville, Tennessee. Maybe the UK vibe comes from like some of my initial clients that I worked with in business are from the UK, and we actually have a lot of clients out of the UK as well. So maybe that's some of the vibe, and that's why we did a London conference. But actually born and raised in Metro Detroit, Michigan. I was born at Henry Ford Hospital. Was kind of raised in like the Ann Arbor area, so kind of in between those two spots, and then went over to college shortly after that, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I was a Grand Valley State University graduate. I actually have my degree in exercise science, so nothing to do with marketing.
Dang.
Nothing to do with sales, nothing to do with like what I'm actually doing today. Yeah, I got my start in exercise science. And yeah, that's where like I met my wife and kind of started my career. One, doing strength and conditioning for athletes, and then eventually going into like more personal training. A little fun fact, I've helped over 100 people lose 50 pounds or more in their fitness journey. Yeah, pretty crazy. So it was a whole nother life and it was a whole different era of my existence, but definitely some like really cool learning lessons through like moving through the fitness space. I always tell people like, yeah, I'm just like kind of good at working out now and, making sure I don't get too fat.
I get it. But every now and then when there's a friggin' nice taco, you can't pass that.
Yeah. I mean, tacos happen every week in this household. So,
You know what's crazy? So Nashville, I'm in Nashville and there's a famous restaurant there. I don't know, but Velvet Taco. Crazy name. Marketing wise, it's hilarious. They did great with it. I actually went in because I'm like, I want a t-shirt, right? But their food was actually pretty dang good there. And in Nashville's got some really, really good restaurants that I don't think, I wouldn't, that are not just hot chicken.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, some of the best steakhouses I think in the world are here in Nashville. So if you like steak, definitely a place to come and check out. But yeah, they're starting to increase the food scene. For a while, it was very like home cooking, fried food, stuff like that. It's like, that's why you came to Nashville, for the hot chicken, right? Yeah. And I will say most restaurants will have some sort of hot chicken dish. So a majority of them will have it. But like the food scene here has expanded tremendously. A lot of people from LA, New York have moved here. So I think, they were missing some of that more upscale food environment like there is in LA and New York. So we're starting to get more of that here because after pandemic, COVID, all of that, I mean, we just had so many transplants move to the city. So which I think is for a benefit,
It is. I know that in Utah where I live in Orem. Our headquarters is in Lehigh. It's a little bit south of Salt Lake, but there are so many companies that are just coming in, and it really transforms the city. Speaking of that, you growing up close to Detroit, there's so many things that are going through my head. How close were you to Detroit? And how long?
Yeah, very close. So like my home was probably 25 minutes outside of downtown Detroit. Yeah. My dad was a serial entrepreneur as well. He when I was a kid, when I was in high school, he owned 3 businesses. He owned a commercial printing company, second largest commercial printing company in all of Michigan. That was housed like 10 minutes from downtown Detroit, so very close. So I was always in proximity to the city. And then he had a salvage yard, and he also had a used car dealership. And he was also my varsity baseball coach. And I don't know, super parent. I don't know how he did it. I'm running one business, and I barely have time to eat, drink, and pee. I can't think about running 3 businesses and also being a coach for for a kid. So with all that being said, yeah, very close to downtown. A little fun fact of like downtown Detroit. It was a pretty horrible place back when I was a kid. Like very, very like degraded. So essentially what happened is I'm not going to get the dates right at all, but essentially, the market around vehicle production really collapsed in sometime in the 2000s. And so there's like really a mass exodus of people from Detroit, and the city is massive. I don't know if you know anything about Detroit, but
I've been there.
It's one of the largest city limits, like as far as like size goes, in the entire country. It's bigger than some of the biggest cities in our country, but it was really meant to house 2 million people inside of it. That population dropped to 250,000. So imagine a city limit that houses 2 million people dropping down to 250,000 people. They have since rebuilt a lot of it. And like, if you go to downtown Detroit, it's beautiful. I was so shocked and amazed when I went back down there. I was there last weekend for a wedding. It's awesome. So cool. They have a lot more infrastructure. They've rebuilt a ton of it. It still has areas because it's such a big city. Their population is now back up to about 750,000 people, which is awesome. But like, they're really starting to like rebuild it, and they're kind of starting from the center, working outward. It was really cool to kind of like see the city. Like, it was very alive. It was clean. You could tell like the mayor, I can't remember what his name is right now, but the mayor is like really taking care of the city. So I'm like, I like see the city. I'm like, dang, like I kind of want to move back here now. But I was there. It's like peak climate right now. It's like kind of like that crisp springtime weather. Whereas like most of the time, if you're from Michigan, you're like, the weather's awful.
It is cold.
6-7 months out of the year where you're just like, this is horrible. I don't want to be here. Too much snow, too cold. So that will keep me away, and I'll stay in Nashville. But yeah, I love Detroit. It's an awesome city.
That's so cool. I had the opportunity of going to Detroit, and of course, in my craziness, I think it was like 4 years ago, I go and I'm like, I gotta see 8 Mile. Like I gotta see 8 Mile, right?
It's a pretty long road, so there's a lot of 8 Mile to see.
So my brother and I were going down, and we're like, you gotta listen to the 8 Mile soundtrack, and you're just like, and we're just going down, and then there's times where it's like windows are going up, like
for sure. There are definitely pockets. There's definitely pockets.
It was crazy, but it's really cool to see the small business and entrepreneurs trying to revitalize a city. And just as much as kind of like you going to Nashville or other people coming to Utah or vice versa, it really revitalizes a city. And this small business is really what is going to create those opportunities for those customers.
100%.
And for those cities, which I love to see. So you grow up in Detroit. When did you move? Was that during school?
Yeah, college. I moved out to Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is on the west side. So if you guys do your little map glove, it's over on this side of the state. So West Michigan, beautiful spot. If you like craft beer at all, Grand Rapids is like the spot. It's like they call it Beer City, USA. Some of the best craft beer in the world is made right there in Michigan. And then like that whole coastline, the West Coastline, very beautiful spot. A lot of lake shore. Lake Michigan's a beautiful lake. On that Michigan lake shore. And went to school there, did my 4-year degree in exercise science, and worked for a little company called FitBody Bootcamp straight out of college. So had a couple other employment opportunities like in between starting with FitBody, but like FitBody was like one of the first companies that I really sank my teeth into and like actually felt like I had some upwards mobility in the company. So if you don't know, FitBody Bootcamp was run by or started by an entrepreneur called Bedros Keuilian. He does a lot of stuff out of LA, but he started that franchise, and my owner of the franchise, so our CEO, ended up growing the fastest FitBody Bootcamp franchise in the entire country. And I think there were like 450 locations at the time. We had 7 locations across all our FitBody Bootcamps. On average, a location would do probably 750 to 800K per year. So pretty sizable business. And then we had a couple locations that were doing north of $1 million, $1.5 million per year, which is for a very niche boutique, like fitness facility. You're talking like, it's a 2,000-3,000 square foot facility. That's pumping numbers. And so we would do like these really big, robust group group classes. And it was very high energy. It's like Britney Spears microphone. Like you are just getting the people going. And
yeah,
our demographic was like 35 to 50-year-old moms and that wanted to lose weight. And they absolutely loved it. You get a bunch of, younger 20-year-old men in there that, they make every session feel like they're getting all the attention in the world. Like, yeah, you build something special and, it draws a lot of people into those facilities. So yeah, that's where I learned a lot about, not necessarily like the marketing side, but like just running a business in general. Our CEO would have scheduled times where you could come to his office, and his office was about 45 minutes away from like our main location. So yeah, you had to drive out there, but you could go meet with the CEO of, a company that was doing roughly $7 to $8 million a year. And I was like, that's so cool. Like, I want to learn what he's learning. I want to know what he knows. And yeah, he was the first person to kind of invest into my personal development of like he bought me the book, like Traction and Scaling Up. And like, these are some of the classic books that, you initially read to understand like business models and understand how to build and grow and organize a business. And so I had like this keen understanding and passion for like operations and growing and scaling businesses. Well, in 2017, one of my very good friends from elementary school hits me up and he says, Josh, I'm thinking about leaving my family business. His family had a business in the automotive sector. They sold refurbished headlights to insurance companies, right? So insurance companies buy these headlights, they'd send them to the body shop for replacements anytime a car got in a wreck. Very niche, but they were a very successful company. And
really?
Like, yeah, if he stayed in that for, a long time, he would have, been taken care of the rest of his life. But he's like, hey, I have like a passion to like go and try and start something new. Right now I'm managing some social media accounts for a couple of e-commerce brands. And, we didn't even call it e-com back then. It was just like these online brands. Like we didn't even know what e-com was at the time. He's like, can you help me manage some of these profiles? I have a little bit too much work. Like you're super like into social media. You're making like fitness videos and always posting. And I'm like, yeah, of course I'll help out. He's like, awesome. I'm going to pay you $2,000 a month. I need you to run these 2 accounts for me. Just comment and like when people comment on these posts. And I was like, $2,000 a month? He's like, yeah. And I was like, I make like $4,000 a month as like a personal trainer. And you're going to like give me half of that salary working maybe an hour a day on these. He's like, yeah. And I was like, that was like my first like glimpse at like what we call like internet money. Right.
Yeah.
Or I was like, holy cow, like there's a whole different existence of like cash. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm making like, $15K a month right now, just like managing these. I was like, dude, that's wild to me. I was like, I never heard of that much money, like someone taking that home that much money in my entire life. And so eventually he grew that to a little bit larger than it was. He's like, hey man, he's like, I think I'm really onto something. Would you want to come down and move to Nashville and be my COO? And I was like, I don't even know what a COO is, but yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
It sounds cool. That's
yep.
all I know.
Yeah, exactly. So I had no clue. I was a glorified social media manager. That's kind of how I got my start in the marketing space. And then eventually I did move down. I worked remotely for about 8 weeks, where I would do 3 days at the gym, 5 a.m. till our close, which was 6 p.m. And then I would I would drive across to Detroit, because at the time there were no direct flights to Nashville from Grand Rapids. So I'd drive 2.5 hours, stay with my parents on Wednesday night. I would fly out Thursday to Nashville, go Friday, Saturday, fly back Sunday. And I did that cycle for 8 weeks until we moved down there.
That's crazy, man. That's really crazy. Thank you for tuning in for the first part of our podcast with Joshua Johnston. Be sure to check out part 2.